Hey everyone, so in this video, it's just going to be me in some war battles from the previous cross-regional war. You're going to see some wins and you're going to see some losses. You're going to see some interesting defense teams as well as some standard ones. This past war, I ended up using my Diego team a little more just because I was finding the RNG of using Mercer versus Mercer to be too great for both sides. And I know that's kind of confusing, but I found that by relying on my stun resist mods a bit more, I was able to run a stronger team. When I was running a Mercer lead, I was really losing out on that attack bonus as well as the AP when attacking, and it became increasingly difficult because a lot of top players now have tunes like Rosita and Shiva on defense, so it was just difficult to manage, especially because like my S-class roster is a lot smaller than other players' S-class rosters. Being a free-to-play player, it takes me a lot longer to get S-class tunes, and it's just a struggle when you come across these tanky ones on defense that don't even need a true defensive leader in order to be super tanky. And guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content and information. I'm always looking for suggestions on new videos that you guys would like to see. I'm starting to put up a line channel actually, where I will have live streams of me building teams for people, offensive or defensive teams, and you guys can kind of see my thought process as I go through someone's roster, like what am I looking for, why am I choosing this tune over that tune, and I kind of break down the tunes that I chose and kind of give an explanation as to how they would function. Feel free again in the live streams to let me know what you guys think, or if there's a tune that I overlooked, feel free to ask why I didn't choose them, because to be honest, I'm human too and I make mistakes. I might have overlooked a tune, or I might have a legitimate reason why I think one tune just works better with this specific team over another one. I'm really looking forward to this actually. Once this video goes out, I'll probably start my live stream a little bit after it. I also put my roster up in the team building chat that I created online, and I'm going to let other players kind of design attack teams for me or defense teams, and I will definitely test run those, probably not on the live stream just because I don't want to be ducking in and out of different apps, but in a later video you guys will be able to see like the teams that you put together for me and how I would run them, or if you put together a defensive team for me, what type of offensive team I would create in order to combat it. Anyway, jumping back to the war film, you'll notice that a lot of the defensive teams that I'm coming across are either Mercer teams with a lot of RNG involved or a lot of control that just make me have to really think about what tune I use and when I use them, or they're a heavy defensive team that has a lot of control but is just super tanky. And honestly, if I didn't have Princess, I don't know if I would get through them just because of abilities like Payback or Bide existing. A lot has definitely changed since this last war. With the release of Jackie, there is even more RNG available in the game because now we're looking at not just Mercer leads that can apply stun to everyone at the start, but we're looking at Jackie leads that are able to apply confuse to everyone. And when a tune is confused, there's a 50% chance of that tune attacking its own team, which of course can be devastating if you're running a team with rampage weapons or splash weapons. So it's going to be a little tricky, and I think the way that I'm going to have to approach it is designing a few separate teams based on what leader I see. This Mercer team that I'm facing now, there's only 2 characters that are really getting the AP bonus from Mercer, and it's a defensive one, and that would have been Priya as well as Angel. But because of the lack of a defense or HP boost, it's fairly easy to kill a lot of these Mercer teams unless they have the new tanky S-class tunes, and then that's just a different story. I don't see many defense teams like this one, like with Michelle lead. Michelle lead is a pretty old lead to use on defense, but if you're going for a turn 1 rushing defensive team, it can be effective, as I explained in my turn 1 defense attacking team video. So I understand where they're coming from, but I just don't think that Michelle is a viable defensive leader, especially if you don't have any other defensive tunes that can really like prevent me from trying to rush or prevent me from being able to control you on the first turn. Now, I am aware that I have a huge advantage just because I'm using a Mercer lead, so I have a chance to stun everyone on the defensive team, especially if they don't have stun resist mods, so that is an advantage. And based on the rank of a team that I'm playing against, or if I take a look at player scores before starting a match, I'm able to kind of decipher if a Mercer lead is appropriate or not. Because there are some teams or players where okay, they're going to have some tanky tunes behind their Mercer. It's not going to be a fast rushing defensive team where you have a Rav or Princess rushing on the first turn, but you're going to see things like, as I mentioned, like Rosita, Aaron, maybe even Cameron, Scar, Frost, and tunes like that. If I expect to see like a fast rushing defensive team, if I had a payback tune, that's what I would run. But because I don't, I have to use tunes like Cole, who have an active skill that can cut tunes' attack in half and apply that taunt. So Cole is one of my favorite tunes to use because he applies so much control beyond just his taunt. So even if his taunt fails, he's at least cutting the opponent's attack in half, which is huge if you're going against a Priya with Rampage and her attack is 18,000. Now all of a sudden it's only 9,000, which means my team might actually have a chance to survive. Let me know in the comment section below how you guys are dealing with Mercer leads, or if you're really struggling, like would you guys like me to kind of create a video of some different methods to go against Mercer teams? And I guess now I should including Jackie teams. I'm still in the midst of testing out some different teams against Jackie, because there aren't many out there at the moment because of course she just dropped, but I think I need to get a lot more practice. And again, like the best way to learn how to beat a team is to practice against them. You'll notice, or at least my faction mates will notice, I will duel them sometimes 50 times in a row just to understand the whole dynamics of their team and how my team would interact with theirs. And I'll tell you this, there are a lot of wins and sometimes even more losses. And you know what? It's all a learning experience and it's how you get better. You can't just go into the game and think, oh, I pulled this tune and now I'm a god at the game. Like I know that might be some players' mentality and wallets do speak, but there's a lot more to it. And understanding the capabilities of different tunes, both yours and the opponent's, as well as learning how to anticipate. Like with some leaders, you're able to guess what tunes you're likely to find behind them. The biggest difference will be their weapons as well as their mods. The most fun that I really have in this game is figuring out teams and finding different ways to beat teams, especially difficult ones. I don't always have the best tunes, the best characters, the best mods, the best anything, but I really try to make what I have work. I'm not always successful, but I do try. This game is really one of the most complex games I've had to play, just because there are so many different factors that play into if you're going to win or if you're going to lose, and it's never the same when you go against a team. You always know that there's going to be some RNG difference, and it's impossible to really predict what happens. All you can really do is make actions and do what's within your control. So that's really why I try to compose my teams like in a very specific way, like even the positioning for my lineup, because then it becomes habit. And a lot of the time when I see a team, I'm able to somewhat figure out the best course of action in order to beat it, even if I start out the match with 4 tunes stunned. With all that said, it doesn't mean that I always make the correct decision. Like right here, one of the options against Mercer teams is to do nothing on the first turn, but because I know Pete doesn't get an AP bonus from Mercer, I knew he was going to be a safe tune to attack without giving him a ton of AP. Like if I had attacked Princess, she could have gained a significant amount. If I had attacked Cam to start, he has a 20% chance to gain 100% AP when being attacked. So you just have to be really careful and aware of what different tunes are capable of and how their interactions work within their own team. Now, this team that I'm facing right now is utilizing Aaron as a lead, and I've seen a lot more players start using him. So his active skill, ever since the upgrade, has really given him a huge boost. That impair ability as well as AP down really prevents the enemy from being able to do much. And I know I mentioned this in another video where I actually moved towards using Maggie a little more because I don't expect bleed tunes behind this Aaron, and I'm using Diego's defense down enough and usually commanding. But with a Maggie, I would at least have an impair recovery, which would really help against these Aaron teams, at least for warring a little faster. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching and listening to my video.